Welcome to the Seer Show. Join us as we dive into the dynamic world of health, wellness, mindset, and fitness with the unparalleled guidance of lifelong knowledge seekers, Sifu Rafael and Nikki Gangemi. Sifu and Nikki will unlock groundbreaking insights with extraordinary guests from around the globe. You'll get the latest holistic approaches to well-being with a sharp focus on the powerful connection between mind, body, and soul. Get ready to take the leap. It's time to embrace a brighter and healthier future with us at the Seer Show.
Good morning, Nikki. How are you on this beautiful Wednesday morning?
Good morning, Sifu. I am excellent on this beautiful morning. How are you doing?
I am exceptional and getting better every day.
I was waiting for it.
Oh, yeah. We have a guest with us today, and he says, I don't even know why I asked you. I said, you asked because you want to hear it, and also because if I ever say anything else, you know something is wrong.
That's right. That's right.
So I love the topic that we're going to be talking about today, and I don't want to give it away, but let's go ahead and bring out two exceptional guests.
Yes.
We have Chris and we have Jose. Welcome, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to be here.
Yeah, excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's, we're going to talk about life's 3 questions and the habits that shape you. And each one of you has this incredible energy around this. And who'd like to take it? Who'd like to start?
Well, all right, I'll dive in. So the 3 life questions. So 3 life questions, let me just lay them out for you. So am I living authentically? That's the first one. The second is, am I cultivating meaningful relationships? And the third is, am I making the world a little better? So those are the 3 questions that I feel sort of frame a life well lived, if you will. And that the more we can live intentionally every day around answering those incrementally, it's not, none of those is necessarily a destination. Each of them is something that I think we grow into each day. But the reason I'm interested in sort of bringing them to the world is to help people live a little bit more intentionally, a little bit more mindfully about how they go about experiencing their lives, so that, when we exit this earthly realm and, none of us gets out of here alive, that we look back on our lives without regret. And the more that we're capable, in my view, of answering yes to those 3 questions, the less likely we are to feel significant regret. So there you have it.
I love it. I love it. 3 questions. Which one would you like to answer first?
Oof. Well, the first one is first for a reason. This whole notion of authenticity. Who am I? Yeah, Anthony DeMello was an influence for me, for sure. He is no longer alive. He was a Jesuit priest, but he was from India, and he brought a decidedly sort of Eastern mysticism view of spirituality to the Catholic faith. And I listened to a series of lectures he gave at Fordham University in the mid 80s. And a question he asked near the outset of the lecture series has stayed with me and really sort of helped frame that first question of mine. And the question he asked was, the most important question in the world is not, who is God or who is this, or he said the most important question in the world is who or what is this thing we call I, capital I. And that struck me as being really extremely important because, who each of us is goes well beyond the mental construct that we've all created for ourselves about who we are, goes well beyond the things that our society, our parents, our teachers, all told us we should be. It's much deeper than that. And so that's really the bedrock of that first question, am I living authentically? It's really, am I living from that place of who I truly am? So that's the first one. And that's why it's first.
I love it. And you went into the depth of it, and I love that aspect of it. I'm wondering. I mean, I know who I am because I explore that every day, without a doubt. I'm just wondering, who's Jose Escobar anyway? Jose, who?
Well,
Sorry about that, Jose. I guess I kind of
no, not please.
that up for
We have an hour, and there's plenty of time to go around. As a matter of fact, I am way more eager to learn than I am to just tell you what I already know or what I've experienced. So that was actually a good thing. I was taking some notes on what you said. As a matter of fact, to answer that question, you said, "Am I living authentically? Am I cultivating meaningful relationships? Am I making the world better?" Right? I don't know if I worded that last one correctly, but it's close enough, I think. So in terms of the first question, am I living authentically? I'll just quickly address that before I jump into something myself. And that is 100%, because I only know how to be me. And you can only show up in the world and make it a better place and cultivate meaningful relationships if you're genuine, you're authentic, and you're real, right? If you're putting on a facade and you're putting on a different show in your church than you are in your peer group with your friends, than you are at home with your spouse and your children, and you're acting in a different way in business settings and in different environments there, then you're not being genuine, you're not being real, you're not being authentic, right? So for me, I'm the same guy across the board everywhere I go. On social media, I'm very transparent. I show all about what I do and who I am. There is no business page for me. There is only a personal page because my business and me are the same thing, right? My brand is me, and that's who I am, and I think that's how we need to live. And when we show up authentically, I think everything ends up working out the way it needs to. And you're going to attract the right people into your world. And the people that you're meant to serve are going to, by divine providence, are going to align themselves in front of you over time because you're just authentic, right? So I love the three questions. That's my quick answer. Obviously, there's not enough time to go deeper. But in terms of myself, happily married to my wife, who her birthday was yesterday, Katie, father of 6 kids. I have an 18-year-old boy in college now and a 10-month-old boy on the other end, 3 boys, 3 girls. Entrepreneur. I have a background in martial arts. I enjoy a good cigar on occasion. As a matter of fact, I have I'm a man of faith, so I'm Catholic. I have this really cool, what is this called, coaster that I put my coffee on every morning. And it says, "The Catholic Church is like a thick steak and a glass of red wine and a good cigar," by D.K. Chesterton. So I actually do enjoy cigars, good coffee, and good books, as you can tell. Everything I do is filtered through God, right? And through my faith, and then it's my wife, and then it's my kids, and then it's my health, and then it's my business, right? So if the business is in 5th place, that's just kind of how I do things. And then I'm a coach, author, speaker, 21-time published author. 1 book I wrote myself, and I co-authored 20 other books with influencers. I love speaking. I love community building. I have a large community of entrepreneurs globally, Connected Leaders Academy, and I do other things, right? But in terms of the reason of today, right, being on your show about habits, right? That's kind of my space that I love to talk about. I wrote this book called Winning the Day, An Entrepreneur's Guide to Morning, Evening Routine Mastery, which is all about the bookends of your day. And I also got this book here called The 90-Day Battle Plan, which I put together, which is a 90-day battle plan in terms of like journal and like a day timer, because I believe that you grow your business and your life in 90-day increments. And if you can just be in month for 90 days and then you kind of can let loose and do your thing for a week, that's perfectly fine. As long as you, when you mean business, you mean business. And when you are off, you're off, right? And I think that's kind of how I do things. And I love that topic. So great questions. And I'm excited for this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
So I think we're going to have to go around the room. Nikki, who are you?
Yes. Who am I? I'm still trying to figure that one out. It's
We got
interesting.
time. We got time. Go for it.
We have time. With all the time in the world. When Chris first mentioned that question, my mind, are you living authentically? My mind went to when I had said yes to becoming an elementary school teacher was when I stopped living authentically. That was kind of after I gave up on my dream of acting and then settled into others' dream for me. But then as he explained more deeply what are you living authentically meant, I went back to preteen, where I kind of abandoned myself. And just there was so much of a self-loathing, which became a habit, the habit of self-loathing throughout my life, that I tried to be anybody but me, to be likable, to be acceptable. And so I am just coming into accepting and loving myself, I would say, in the last maybe 5 or so years.
We love you too. So
Thank you.
you're not only in love with yourself, you have many people that love you and love who you've become, who you allowed to be. So you are such a beautiful person.
Yes. Thank you, Sifu. And how about yourself? You want to know, are you living authentically?
Oof. I got to tell you, I didn't realize I was my whole life. My whole life, I have been that, from being someone who lost the ability to walk to being somebody who was picked on consistently, bullied, made fun of, left, abandoned, if you will. I was always authentic. I am who I am, no matter where I go. Because wherever I go, guess who's there with me? Me. I'm there. I'm always there. Wherever I go, boom, I look in the mirror. That's the same guy I saw earlier or yesterday or 3 months ago. So for me, it's always been about how do I show up first for me. And then I realized that God has put in my heart that I have to help others. And so my mission from a child has been helping other people. And one of the beautiful things is when I saw or heard about my sister who survived both Twin Tower incidents. One was when the trucks drove under the building and they blew it up, right? She was there. She survived that. And then the second was 9/11. And in 9/11, my sister, she's had so many different operations. She's walking with a walker. She not only survived, but she's helping people who are able-bodied, who could move, and she's there helping them because maybe they fell down. She's with her walker. She's walking and she's helping people. She puts her walker down, helps somebody get up, and then gets on her walker, and she's there helping people. So I realized that, wow, there's something that we have inside of us that sometimes, even when it's tough, we have to look at how we can help someone else. And that has been my whole life. I've helped people out when I had nothing to give, and I've given. And for me, it's about, I wake up every morning and I thank God for the gifts he's given me. And I ask him to allow me to share those gifts because I don't want to be selfish. even though I am the most selfish guy you'll ever meet, because I wake up early in the morning because I'm all about me. But then when I'm encountered with other people, it's all about them. And that's who I am. That's who I love who I am. Because loving me has taught me that I can love others,
Mm.
even though sometimes they don't love me back.
That's hard to believe.
I think
You'd be surprised.
that's such a profound truth. It feels to me, and something that I'm still learning how to do for myself, honestly. And I think it relates to this whole authenticity. So for years and years, so these three questions sort of, grew out of my own journey uh, through various iterations, through depression, through various experiences in my life. And but I don't want to lose sight of the point you just made, which is, this notion of, my belief is that you can't give what you don't possess yourself. And I think you just spoke to it, Sifu, about this notion of loving oneself. It really is impossible in my mind to genuinely and authentically love another person unless and until you authentically love yourself. And I think the struggle that so many people have, myself included, is first, who am I? And then, versus who did my parents want me to be? Who did, everybody in society say I should be? Uh, who am I really? And am I capable of loving that um, in a real way? Because when you're able to arrive at that and get comfortable with that, as opposed to falling in love with the facade, falling in love with the persona. I think the Greek persona comes from the Greek, right? And persona is a mask, came from the theater. And the persona is the image that we have created, either that others gave us or that we helped build ourselves. Um, and it hides, who we really are. And I think it's when you get down to who you really are, and you can love that you're capable of genuinely loving others. And Jose, you nailed it with your description of the questions, right? I mean, yes, when you're authentic, then you can have authentic relationships with other people. And from those authentic relationships flows the ability to, well, it just follows, actually. It's not even an ability. It just, once you have those in place, you positively impact the world. So anyway, I think that whole notion of understanding who you are at a deep level and loving it enables you to do the other pieces of the three questions.
I would love to chime in, Chris. First of all, great points that you just made, and yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Is that if you're not authentic with yourself, how are you going to build authentic relationships? Because you're building a foundation off of something that's not real, right? You're not being yourself, and then when you do show up as yourself, you're not going to have the right people there because they're going to say, that's not who I fell in love with. That's not who I enjoyed. That's not who I understood you were to be, right? So anyway, you mentioned self-love and you mentioned authenticity. And I believe that the 11th commandment says, thou shalt not fool thyself, right? So don't fool yourself. Don't believe this fake facade of what you're creating when it's not true. Just be real, just be authentic, like we said. So in terms of your loving yourself, that's why I love what I do in the space of morning routine, evening routine, and structure, because I believe that, again, you can't give what you don't have, which I say all the time, and you said it slightly different, but same concept, right? And I also say that, self-care is self-love, right? So if you love yourself, you have to take care of yourself. And you take care of yourself by filling your cup first before you pour into everybody else. Right. And so, again, if you are a parent and a spouse and professional or entrepreneur, and a son and a brother or sister or a friend. I mean, you got to pour into a lot of people throughout your day, right? You got to give of yourself, and giving of yourself from an empty tank is a recipe for disaster, because at the end of the day, you feel depleted, you feel depressed, you feel upset, you feel frustrated, you feel a lot of different feelings, right? So it's the importance of, in the morning, the bookends of your day, you start the first bookend, right? The anchor of your day. Instead of going into chaos and just going where the wind blows, you have a structure, because the structure, the habit that you're installing, is going to yield more productive activities throughout your day. So if you start your day properly, it's amazing how your day just tends to flow. Aristotle, I'm sure we've heard his famous quote, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence then is not an act, but a habit, right? So I'll say it one more time for those in the back. I love when people say that. we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit, right? So how you do anything is how you do everything. We've heard that before. Excellence. I want to show up in the act of excellence. One of the biggest things that I was a huge proponent of in my household is I want my children to catch me in the act of excellence as often as possible, right? I can't tell you how many times my son would wake up in the morning bright and early, just to use the restroom at like 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. And guess what? He hears me praying in my office, right? He hears me reading a book. He smells the candle because I'm in the middle of journaling. And he's caught me. He's opened the door and he's seen me in the act of excellence of pursuing my best self, of pouring into me in all different components of my life, because it's not just about money. It's not just about a good marriage. It's not just about being a good parent. It's not just about being in health and wellness. It's not just about being intellectually or emotionally stimulated. There are 10 different areas of your life that you got to put attention on, because they're all interconnected. And if you leave one and kind of sweep it under the rug, can I tell you something? The mess doesn't go away, right? You have to address it. You have to address it. So I pour into me in all 10 buckets every single morning, Monday through Friday at least, excluding when I'm out of town. Sifu can tell you that. That's just what it is. So to me, that's what it's about. It's the quote from Aristotle that inspires me all the time. It's installing habits. It's self-care. So you love yourself and you show up genuinely and authentically. And at that point, anything is possible in terms of what you want to create. Because I wrote this down this morning. It says, a quote from my book. It says, "If the work you seek doesn't exist, create it." Right? If the work you seek doesn't exist, create it. And that only comes when you're fulfilled and you have a full tank and you can go and you can pour into the world at the highest levels.
Love it. I want to mention one thing that you said, Jose, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit. You said, "My son hears me reading." I want you to expand on that, because I know what you mean by that, but some people may not understand that, because if I'm reading, how are you hearing me read?
Well, everybody has a different style of reading, right? So for me, you can read just by reading silently in your mind, all right? And you can read just like speed reading, just really quickly. You can read by listening to an audio of somebody else reading it to you, right? Like story time, right? There's so many different ways to read. So the way I like to read is out loud. And I don't just read out loud. I read out loud intentionally as often as I can, because sometimes you're in an environment where you can't read out loud. But I read out loud, and then I underline and I highlight and I put dog ears and I put little sticky notes. I create my own index in a book. I really dissect my books, because the way I read, and people say, "Jose, how do you have the time to read a book a day or a book a week? How do you have time to do that? And how do you even have time to do all that, like dissecting of the book and all the things you do in it?" You must be a great reader. I don't read because I don't have the time to read. I'm so busy. I don't read because I'm not a fast reader like you. I'm like, who told you I'm a fast reader? I'm not a fast reader. I'm a very slow reader, actually. And you have the same time that I have in my day, right? As a matter of, and if we go tit for tat, I'm going to be like, you don't have 6 kids. I have 6 kids, right? I have multiple different things that I'm keeping in the air. You have 2, right? I can go back and forth on who's busier, but that's not the point. The point is, we make the time for things that we deem to be a priority in our lives, right? We don't find the time because time is there. You just have to create the time if it matters to you. So when people say, "I don't have time to read," I say, baloney. It's just not a priority to you. It's just not a priority to you. To me, it's a priority. I understand the power of reading. So for me, reading out loud is like free weights, right? Listening to an audio is like resistance machines. Free weights, if I'm doing bench press on a resistance machine, it's stabilized for me. It's less work, less effort, less thought. And of course, the weight is the same, but it's just different. It's less strenuous. If I'm doing free weights with the Olympic bar and I'm doing bench press, I now have to stabilize my core. I have to make sure the bar doesn't go to one side or the other. I have to keep it straight. I have to focus more. It involves a lot more of me and different muscle groups in order for me to do it. So I like to incorporate more components of my mind, my thought, my ear, the whole visual, kinesthetic, auditory, all the things. And that's why I read the way I read.
Wow, what a great explanation. I got to tell you, when you read out loud, it does something because you're not just internalizing it, you're writing it on your brain because you're hearing it too. So you're getting the visual and you're getting the auditory. It's almost so some people, they like only to listen to audiobooks because they don't have time. And that's one way they can still get a book in. And I love that, but I rather read it. And I'm not one that likes to read on my computer because I'm on my computer so much. I like a physical book, a physical, incredible book that can definitely change your life, right? Oh, is that my good friend Jose? Yes. And so what winds up happening is when we read out loud, it sends the message twice, I believe, and it goes deeper. And when you write in it and all that stuff, it's great. I love that energy.
Sifu, I never tell people they're wrong. I never say, oh, if you do audiobooks, oh, you're not. No, I never.
I agree. I agree.
Because who says I'm right? Right? I never say people are wrong. I just say challenge yourself. That's my message. It's not that that's not good or you're wrong and I'm right. It is just challenge yourself. My nudge to people is challenge yourself. Push yourself to the uncomfortable because the uncomfortable expands your comfort zone, right? And when you live outside of your comfort zone, you only get better and better and better, right? It's not how can this be easier? It's how can I be better? And that's what it's about. So
I'm driving to come see you. It's going to take me 5 hours to get there. Guess what I'm going to be listening to? An audiobook. I can listen to music. I can listen to a podcast, but I'm like, wait a minute. There's going to be an audiobook I want to listen to.
That's the right environment for that. When you're driving, when you're at the gym, that's what podcasts are for. That's what audiobooks are for. That's what I do that too, right? That is the best use of your time. And that is leveraging the university on wheels is what I call it, right? When you're driving and you're doing that. So that is cool. And I have nothing against that. I'm just saying throughout your day, if you're sitting down or you're somewhere where you can physically pick up a book, can I tell you something? It's going to push you. It's going to challenge you and seek out the challenges. As a matter of fact, the book for me is a daily carry, right? Daily carries are your wallet, your cell phone, your purse, whatever it is. A book should always be a daily carry. Because all of a sudden, when you say you don't have time, I promise you, if you carry a book with you at all times, when you're in line at the grocery store, when you're waiting on your kid to pick him up from practice, or you're waiting wherever you're doing throughout your day, I guarantee you 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 1 minute here, 10 minutes there, and all of a sudden you read half a book throughout the day.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, one thing I like to read out loud, which has been really helpful for me, is when I journal. I write, my thoughts, and then I'll read them out loud. And sometimes just saying it out loud made me say, oh, well, actually, that's not exactly true. I don't really feel that way because it sounded different when I spoke the words. And then the third thing I'll do to bring in the body is I'll use tapping, EFT, and I will tap on what I journaled. And I have healed by doing that. I have processed an emotion, and I've seen a more positive perspective, bringing in the movement to it.
Love it. I got to tell you, Nikki, there's a Qigong exercise that I do that is tapping, and you cover your ears, right? You cover your ears and you tap, right? Different sounds, different vibrations. And that's a powerful thing. A lot of people don't know about that. And when I teach it to people, they're like, wow, that is so cool.
It is. First I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, Chris, you've been listening to us all ramble on. What are your thoughts on all of the things that Jose spoke about, what I spoke about, Nikki spoke about, and then Nikki, I also want to get your take on what you have developed, because your mindful matters is such a powerful tool that you're sharing with other people. So let Chris go first, and then you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed soaking up a lot of wisdom in the last 10 minutes or so. It's been great to hear what you all have to offer in terms of how you approach your day, um, how you choose to expand your consciousness, your intellect. Um, I need to read Jose's book because one of the things that I am not exceptionally strong in and could grow in is my own sort of daily discipline. So I look forward to reading Jose's book. Um, Having said that, though, I do, in addition to that, I think, what's the saying? I may not get this right. Earth is where souls come to evolve. And it feels to me that a lot of what you've talked about here is, how do we continue to grow and evolve? And everyone's correct. There's no one way to do it. There's no right way or wrong way. And what's powerful about what you expressed was the various modalities and opportunities there are to grow and to learn and to evolve. And it's not just about intellectual knowledge. It's about expanding your view of yourself and other people and the way the world works. I think one of the major challenges that we face sort of broadly culturally, people talk about the divisions, at least here in the United States. But it seems to me that the more we have access to information through various, devices, people seem to be taking that, and rather than being expansive and curious, people are looking for information that validates what they already believe. And I think the challenge that I heard built into everything you spoke about over the last few minutes is not to approach things and learning and books and methodologies from the standpoint of validating what you already know. It's really approaching all of that with curiosity. What can I learn? What's different? What's another way of seeing myself and my world that I might have never considered before? And I think it's just in that process of growing, not reading another book so I can say, look at how many books I've read. It's how can I grow? How can I evolve? How can I change? How can I become even more of who I am? And then finally, the thing I think you all said, which I think is extremely important, is, Sifu, you talked about, you sort of said you were selfish with your morning routine, etc. And we all on this call know that that's not true. That's, Jose said it very well, is that, when you care for yourself in a healthy way, you put yourself in a position to be of service to others, whatever form that might take in your life. But when you take care of yourself, when you focus on learning and growing, it's not selfish. It's really with a view to being a person who can be in a position to serve others, whether that's your immediate family or your clients or a total stranger on the street. So those are just some of my thoughts about everything you guys described. The value in it is putting oneself in a position to grow and to be of greater service to the world.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. When you were talking, Chris, I don't remember where I heard this, but years ago, I heard somebody reframe selfish as self-full. And it goes along with what we've been talking about of filling your cup up. And as the amazing Lisa Nichols says, give from your saucer. So we've got to fill ourselves up first so we have something to give.
Right. I agree. I'll just say one final thing. Buddha had his Four Noble Truths. I sort of have these three liberating, what I call these three liberating truths, which is around, knowing who I am, knowing that I'm part of something bigger than just me, and knowing that I'm here for a reason. And for me, that last one is, I want to put myself in a position to be a conduit for what I believe is the unending love that comes from what many of us call God, but it's the life force. It's the force that gives us all energy and the ability to even be here. So how can I be a conduit for that flow, right? So that it flows through me and as me into the world. And the more that I focus on my own needs, wants, desires, etc., that conduit constricts. And the more that I can expand that, the more that I can put myself understanding other people, being more empathetic, learning about other cultures and the way other people see things, that conduit has a chance to expand. And as it expands, then more of that sort of unconditional love gets to flow through me out into the world. So that's sort of the way I view it.
Really strong thoughts here that were, again, I'm enjoying this because I have my trusty notepad here. Some really good ideas, good thoughts, because I'm a journaler, right? So I journal in my morning and in my evening. So some of these thoughts I'm going to take to my journal tonight, which is going to be fantastic. But so a couple of things were said, and I wrote down a couple of things. I wouldn't lose my thought. First of all, let me start off by saying, Chris, I know you mentioned getting a copy of my book. If anybody who's interested in the book, don't go to Amazon, okay? Can you get it on Amazon? Sure, but you're going to pay more money, and you're not going to get a signed, personalized copy. So if anybody wants a book directly from me, just go to winningthedaybook.com. So winningthedaybook.com. Just include the word book at the end of the title, winningthedaybook.com, and I'll sign, personalized, send you a copy. But in terms of, we said, look at how many books I've read. You said that, Chris. It's not about that. And I agree, it's not about that, because people look at me when I say, oh, I read about a book, sometimes 2 books a week on average, right? Sometimes 0, sometimes 3, but I'd say 1 to 2 a week roughly. And people are like, oh, look at Jose is telling all these books. Do you actually get anything out of these books? And again, they don't realize that I digest the books thoroughly. And my whole thing is, it's not about how many books you get through. It's about how many books get through to you. Right. So I'll say that again. It's not about how many books you get through. It's about how many books get through to you. And the only way books are going to get through to you is if these books are well read. Right. So reading a book is one thing. Having a well-read book, fully digested and inspected, and all the things that you do to it, that's a whole different ballgame. So I'm a huge proponent of that. And I believe that, there's this picture I saw on social media, like a meme somebody created, and there's 3 books like this, and there's a big wall, and there's somebody standing on 3 books like this, trying to look up at the wall like this, and then there's a stack of books of 150 books, and the guy like this looking over the same wall, because he's standing on all the books that he's read and all the things that he's learned, and your worldview expands the more you read, right? And I want to be very clear. It's not just about reading books, because I can read 50 Shades of Grey, and that's not going to change my life. Okay. I'm talking about reading quality books, and quality books, typically nonfiction. Can you find quality books in fiction? Of course. You can get lost in a book and you can enjoy it for recreational purposes. And I encourage that, because your lexicon expands and your worldview expands, and just ideas start to get created from reading classics, right? Nothing wrong with that. And I encourage that. But what I'm saying is, Look into personal development books, right? The self-help section in any bookstore you go to, right? The library. People say, "Oh, I don't have the money to buy books like you do." Don't buy the books. Go get the books from the library, for crying out loud, right? Just no excuse. So if you get the books, you digest them, you read them, and I'm telling you, it can open up so many doors in our lives. As a matter of fact, without going into a whole different topic, one of the biggest things, and we're going back to habits and structure and that kind of a thing. John Maxwell says the best: the secret of your success is found in your daily agenda, right? The secret to your success is found in your daily agenda. John Maxwell says that. What does your daily agenda look like? Is reading included? Do you have structure to your day? Do you have discipline? Do you have habits, right? A lot of times when we create these daily habits and these agendas that we're doing in our day, these things are really, really hard to feel because they're very weak throughout the day. You don't really feel them happening. But once they're installed, they're very hard to break. Right? So you don't feel the change being created along the way when you're installing habits. But when you get to the level of automaticity and it becomes the fiber of who you are and how you show up, and you actually have installed official habits in your day, and they say 21 days, that's old data. The new data, 67 days on average, 66 days to create a habit. And the more difficult the habit is, the longer it takes. And those are in the latest books of research that have been brought to the table. So install habits, install structure, have an agenda, have a structure, know how you're starting your day and end your day effectively so your next day starts well. The best morning routine begins when? The night before.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to add to that, what I'm learning, what I'm actually intending to adopt for myself in listening to you, Jose, is, if you go about doing things to get something for yourself, more money, power, prestige, etc., it can work. No question, it can work, and it has worked. I mean, there are countless examples out there of people for whom that has worked. I think real success, though, and to tie this to the three questions, is when you apply what Jose is talking about in terms of disciplines and habits for the purpose of creating greater alignment in your life to the three questions. If I practice these kinds of habits, journaling and preparing a daily routine and an agenda for the day, etc., so that I can live my life more in alignment with who I really am, so that I can cultivate meaningful relationships, so that I can have a positive impact on the world. Oh my God, the power behind that is unbelievable. If I'm doing those kinds of habits for purposes of acquiring more money or fame or whatever, again, those things can work for you and produce those things. But, it'll be like Thomas Merton's famous quote about people climbing the ladder of success only to find once they reached the top that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall.
Yeah.
So what I would invite people listening to the show to consider is take everything that Jose is talking about and apply it in your life, and do it in a way that enables you to align your life around these three key areas. Because when you combine those two things, oh my goodness, the possibilities are just unbelievable.
Well said, Chris.
Yeah. Real good.
Nikki, tell us about Mindful Matters.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring it back to habits, the invisible habits that we might not see. So I alluded to this earlier, that I was in the habit of self-loathing. I mentioned that. I was in the habit of being a victim, or playing the role of being a victim, giving excuses for why things were happening to me, using the story of getting bullied and picked on and all of that, carrying that well from being a teenager into close to midlife. And so with Mindful Matters, I was inspired because, going back to books, my mom knew I needed help and she didn't know how to help me. So she bought me a book. And the book she bought me when I was 16 years old is called Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. That was the first personal growth self-help book I read. And I woke up to the fact that there's something more than the habit of thought that I was kind of stuck in on a loop. And then it was Ian Van Zant's One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. That was the second book that I read. And I started to see that I can create healthier habits of thought. So Mindful Matters, when I first developed it in my former life as an elementary school teacher, was to help kids to question the thoughts that they were having. What were they telling themselves? And then what else, getting curious, to Chris's point, and asking what else is possible? What's another option? What else might be true? And then also managing those emotions, processing them so you can move beyond the fear and the doubt and get back to who you really are. Remembering who you are, because we all knew that when we were just babies.
Love it. And we are at that point of the show where, unfortunately, it has to end.
All good things.
I don't want it to end, but I have another show coming up at the top of the hour. And so what I would love to give everybody a chance is, you have about 45 seconds. Tell us what people can expect when they come to see you at your site, or even connect with you. Chris, why don't we let you go first?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I am excited about the opportunity to talk to individuals who feel like maybe they're not quite as aligned with where, who they are and where they want to be. That's really what I bring to the table is, as a coach, my job is primarily to ask questions, to listen, and to reflect back some of the things that I'm hearing, so that I can maybe point out ways where people can bring themselves back into alignment with the best of who they are on the inside. That's really what I enjoy doing. Please feel free to reach out. I'd love to have that kind of a conversation.
Perfect. Jose, you're up, my friend.
So I'm the founder and CEO of Connected Leaders Academy. You can check out the website that's scrolling at the bottom right now, www.connectedleadersacademy.com. We're a community of some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all backgrounds, from all over the world. Well over 500 members, 47 states, 35 countries. Sifu and Nikki are both members of the community. And I'm really calling anybody out there who has a business and wants to grow their business, you want to get on more podcasts, more stages, referrals, collaborative partners, more clients, more money. I mean, you name it. Let's have a conversation. Just check out the website. You can get some general information there, and you can actually schedule a virtual coffee with me directly from there. You can't join because I vet everybody myself. There's no way to join except through me directly. But at least book a call with me. Let's have a chat if it makes sense. And I want to end with a quote, because I'm a huge quote person, right? Quote guy. In terms of habits and structure and discipline and installing the bookends of your day, Abraham Lincoln said, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Okay, what you want now and what you want most. So ask yourself, what do you want most out of life? Can I tell you something? Live by design, go get it, create it. It is up to you.
Love that.
Awesome.
Nikki, you're up.
Thanks, Sifu. You can connect with me at my nikkigangemi.com, and I'm the founder of Mindful Matters LLC. There's several paths you can get started on for free to just test. I would recommend the CALM method. It's a 4-step framework to quiet the mind and start changing those habits of thought and leading from a place of clarity, confidence, and calm. And I'll turn it over to you, Sifu.
Great. I'd love to tell you a little bit about me, but let me share this with you, because this is one of the things that I am so passionate about. Just take a look. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy. You're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. So I am Sifu Rafael. I created that because I'm tired of watching people create a successful business life and forget who they are in the world. Their health is everything. So that's me. I'm excited to help you if you need it. You don't even know you need it until you need it, right? Don't let the doctor tell you you need my services. Be proactive. Like Jose. Jose is he's doing incredible things with himself, his wife, his kids, and so many other people. So whatever you do, self-care. Self-care, self-care. We talked about it all day long today. So thank you, everybody. Jose, Chris, Nikki, what an incredible co-host you are. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Take care.